Hello everyone, I'm Chris.
Hi, my name is Zack.
My name is Jessica McDaniel.
Hi, my name is Burke Mullins.
Hi, I'm Blaire.
Hi, my name is Jarod Watson. I am a rising senior in college.
I'm Anna. I am Drew.
Hi, my name is Allison.
Hi, my name is Sonia.
I am Zack Moses.
Hi, my name is Max. My name is Roman Phoenix Andrew White.
I'm 46 years old. Usually women don't tell their age, but this is a story I like to call The Journey into Being Me. And 46 is going to be a little significant in my story.
I am a 21-year-old male and I identify as gay. And this is my story.
And I identify as pansexual and cisgender female.
I identify as gay and I am a cisgendered male.
And I identify as a bisexual female.
I identify as gay.
I identify as a cis female and go by she, her. I identify as a transgender male and go by he, him.
I identify as bisexual.
I'm pansexual and agender.
I am a homosexual cis male.
I'm a bisexual cis female. I identify as pansexual and queer, and I am a transgender FTM male.
So my journey began back in my childhood, all the way into my adolescent years, and I discovered as early back as my memory could take me that I was different and that I had a deep attraction for women. During this time, being gay was far from being accepted by society, and other things that I was faced with was growing up in a strict religion, and also in my upbringing, image and reputation and what society thought of you was very, very important. And so I got to thinking, like, wow, how could I possibly come out in a time like this where, this conflict that I fought internally was against everything, my religion and my upbringing and society, what they wanted, what was accepted. So, you hear that, oh, it's a choice. It's a choice. Sure, it's a choice. So I made that choice, and I chose to live a life that I thought everyone wanted me to live, what was accepting by society. And I did that for a long time, all through my teen years, my 20s, my 30s. And finally, at the age of 42, I found myself alone. I was out of a long-term relationship, and I'd had a couple in my life. And I finally decided, you know what, it's time to just work on me, to just try to make myself better, to think about where I've been, where was I going, what did I want. And I looked around and I was like, God, I've got this amazing life. I'm blessed. I've got a great job. I've got good family, got good friends. I have everything. But I didn't, and I was missing something that I had been looking for all of my life, since I knew what the word love meant and what relationships meant and what giving your heart to someone meant. And so I decided, it was time. It was time that I be me. It was time that I got up and I walked in the shoes of being me. It was time that I looked back at the woman in that mirror that I had looked at all of my life and finally accepted that, you know what, this is me. And this is who I am. And there's nothing wrong with it, because in the core, no matter who I choose to live, this is just me. It's just a part of me. And so I decided to come out. And in this time, I went to counseling because I first needed to learn how to go through this life without worrying about what other people thought of me, what society would think about me, what people may say behind my back about my choice in who I had a relationship with. Not to mention I had to work through the process of telling my family because their love and support was so important to me. So I went to counseling and I worked through this process, and at this time I'm 45 years old, and I have, as I'm coming in and I'm preparing for this process and this time to come out, I have this 16-year-old cousin that I have grown to just love and admire and adore. And she was in an interracial relationship and is to this day. And just like me, she's faced with being in a relationship that's not so accepting by everyone in society. But I saw this 16-year-old amazing young lady stand so strong and courageous in her belief in what she wanted. She stood strong and courageous against society and anyone else who would tell her this isn't right. To say, you know what, this is what I want. This is what I choose. This is who I choose to love. This is where my happiness is. And I just sit back in awe of the strength and the courage of my cousin. And, you know, I was like, wow, Chris, you know what? You're 45 years old. Surely it is time that you stand in the same strength and the same courage to come out, to be me, to be you, to love who you want to love. Find that happiness with whomever you want to find it with. Because that is what I'd wanted all my life and what I'd been wanting. So I drew from that strength and the courage from my cousin, and through a friend that I had with me, who is a good friend to this day, helped with her guidance in going through this process. I finally came out to my parents and to my family and to my friends. And this was almost a year ago. And it was the most liberating, amazing day of my life. There's no day in my life that could compare to that day, as the weight of the world that I carried around on my shoulders was so lifted. I walked so light in my feet. I finally woke up, and I finally could be me. And I've never been more excited about my life than to think about being able to go out here and find that woman that I can be me, that I can go love who I love freely from the most authentic heart that I know to love from. And that has excited me then, and it continues to excite me to this day as I continue on my journey to being me and to finding out that true love and that true happiness that I had so desperately been wanting up until this point. So anyone out there is listening who may be having the same fight and the same internal battle, you know what? Stand strong. Be good to yourself. Love yourself enough to give yourself the best life, the happiest life you can find, to go love who you love. Because at the end of the day, you're responsible for your happiness. And you deserve that peace. Just as the peace that I've given myself a year ago has just been the most amazing thing, the most amazing self-love I've ever done for myself. And so, at the end of the day, it's love is love. And I'm being me. So thank you for allowing me this time to share my journey and my story into being me.
I always knew growing up that I had more of an attraction to feminine things. Like, I'd much rather be playing with my cousins' Barbie dolls than playing with like military figures or anything like that. So I kind of always knew growing up that I had a little bit more of a feminine side to me. You would much rather see me shopping than playing outside or riding a bike or anything like that. But it wasn't until probably 7th or 8th grade, maybe even freshman year of high school, that I really started to realize that attraction and that feminine kind of side to me was really more indicative of my attraction to men. And that was something really difficult for me to process at the time, because I came from a really, really conservative family, a really conservative town, where coming out just wasn't an option for me at that point in time. It was something that I knew that I wanted to do, but it was something that I knew that I couldn't do at the same time, because just circumstances around that made it to where if I had come out any earlier than I did, then I could have risked some really great relationships with family, friends. I could have risked a lot. So I am not very proud of it, but I put off my coming out, and I kind of hid that side of me for quite a while, thinking maybe I was just bisexual and could just push off the I like guys part of it and only date girls. And so that's what I did up until about freshman year of college, which, being away from family, being away from all of those strict rules kind of in my hometown, made it to where I was more able to be myself. And the more that I was able to live out that part of my sexual identity, the easier my life became. The less anxiety I had, the less depression I faced, because I wasn't necessarily hiding that part of who I was anymore. It wasn't until summer after freshman year of high school, so summer of 2016, summer after freshman year of college, sorry. It wasn't until summer after freshman year of college, so the summer of 2016, that I actually came out to my family and had my first real relationship with a guy. So it was a very stressful and hectic summer. It's still not necessarily the thing that my family and I always like to talk about. It's kind of the elephant in the room. We just don't really talk about it much. But my friends were super supportive. All of my friends were extremely supportive. A lot of them were like, yeah, we already kind of figured. We're so happy for you. Even my little brother was like, you're still my brother, who cares? So it was really awesome. Stressful and difficult, but awesome at the same time. And now, ever since I came out and I've been able to live that part of my sexuality, and I've been able to openly express that part about me and not necessarily hide it, it's been one of the most amazing experiences of my life, because it's something unique about me that I get to take pride in, that I get to enjoy real relationships with people that I actually connect with and that I'm actually really attracted to. And so it's really meaningful to me that I finally get to accept that I am gay, and then also be able to tell others openly that I'm gay as well. I have a lot of people at my school. I go to a really conservative school, and I have a lot of people here who don't necessarily have that luxury, and it breaks my heart for them, because knowing how much coming out has made a difference in my life really just shows me that when you're able to accept that part of who you are, and when you're able to understand that you were born this way, that you were made this way, it's a really life-changing experience. And it's been a really life-changing experience for me, and I hope that everybody who identifies as a member of the LGBT community can come to terms with the fact that they're perfect the way that they were created, that there is absolutely nothing wrong with them, and that you will still have an amazing support group no matter who in your life doesn't approve. It's been one of the most amazing things in my life, and I could not be more proud of who I am, not just in the month of June, but all year round. It's been pretty amazing.
I have not always been aware that I was not straight. Back when I was in middle school, there was this girl that I texted with a lot. She was a friend of mine, and she one night texted me saying that she liked me in that way. And it was at that point that I really had to put things into perspective. I had never thought about liking women before, but I wasn't closed off to it. And so I told her, alright, I'll give it a shot. And from there, I really got to grow in my sexuality and discover myself. It was one night when I was at my grandmother's house. I was texting another friend of mine online, and they told me that they were pansexual. And I had, until then, identified as bisexual because I liked men and women, and that was the natural conclusion I came to. And when I got to know what pansexuality was, I realized, like, yeah, okay, that's me. And it was at that point that I felt that I had a place to belong. And it was nice. I was forced to come out to my mother. I had discovered that I was pansexual, and that was great. And so one night I had called my girlfriend, and we were chatting, and it was great. And then 1 minute later, my mother came downstairs, and she, without any preamble, said, "Oh, so you're on the phone with your girlfriend?" I didn't know what to say. I had been keeping it from my family until then, because I come from a Christian household that believes homosexuality is a sin. And so, naturally, I denied it. I said, I don't know what you're talking about. But she insisted. And she sat down and she confronted me about it. And I told her that I wasn't straight. She asked, "What, are you a lesbian now?" I said, "No, not a lesbian. I'm pansexual. I'm pan." And she said, "What, is that one of your stupid anime terms?" That was rough. I told her, no, it's a legitimate thing. It means that I'm not affected by gender when it comes to love. And after that, after everything was said and done, she looked me in the eyes and she said, "I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed." And that was hard. That was hard to deal with, because my parents are the closest thing to me. I trust them more than anyone. But that day, things just changed. She wouldn't talk to me if she could help it. She would give some sort of grimace every single time something from the LGBT community was mentioned. She just seemed like she'd already disowned me, in her own mind at least. And since then it's been a little easier. I think that she's forgotten about it. And honestly, that's okay with me. Because then she'll still love me.
My story starts off probably around, I'm just gonna say middle school, from 6th grade to 8th grade is when I think I first started like coming to terms like, oh, I think I might be gay. I think. I'm not a psychologist or anything, so I'm not really sure. But in middle school, everybody used gay as like a derogatory term for like stupid or bad. And so I think that really pushed my coming out experience further in, because like I was like, oh, well, I was associating gay as in like bad, so I didn't want to be it. And so I just like didn't think about it, and I like tried to make myself like girls, and I even had like a girlfriend for like a week or something, and it was really bad. And then finally I came into high school, I joined theater, and I met a bunch of amazing people. They were really nice and supportive, and they became really good friends of mine. And so finally I got really comfortable with a bunch of them and finally started telling them towards the end of my freshman year. And that sort of like opened up to me like, oh my god, these guys are like so nice and accepting. I don't know like what I'm being afraid of. And then so I ended up telling a lot more people, and eventually like a lot of the school started figuring out, and like they just knew. And then family-wise, I told my sister first. She's younger, she's 12. Well, she was 10 when I told her. And then she was really nice and everything, and she was like, I know. And then I told my mom about it, and I did it when we were in the car. I was like, what's the worst that's gonna happen? Like, and then I was like, as I was like saying it, like, hey mom, I need to tell you something. Like, that's when it popped in my head, like, what if she kicks me out of the car? But she didn't do that. She was really nice and supportive, and she ended up like saying like, yeah, I had like a hunch, and I was like, okay. I have a stepdad that I have not told yet because his views are very opposing of the LGBT community, and so I have not told him yet just because I don't think it's the best idea. But I am going to college soon, and I think it would be smart for me to tell him, just so that way he doesn't keep on pressuring me like, oh, when are you gonna bring a girl home from college? And I'm like, no, actually. But I think I'll tell him soon, because he's told me on multiple times where I'm his son and he loves me and I love him too. And so I don't think he would do anything, but still, just to be safe and make sure that I'm in a safe environment, I'm gonna probably wait till college. And yeah, that's my story. Am I supposed to talk about boyfriends maybe? Okay, oh my god, I didn't even think about that. Crap. So my love life situation, my love story, I don't know if you want me to talk about this. Whoever's watching this, I'm sorry if you didn't want to hear this. But anyway, I first realized that I was gay when I started liking this boy in my geometry class, and I ended up like telling him, and he said he wasn't that way. And then over my 4 years of high school, I was just obsessed with this boy, and I kept on thinking like, oh my god, he can't be gay, because like when I told him that I liked him, he kept on talking to me, and I was like, that's a little bit weird, because like if normally when you tell somebody you like them and they're like, oh well, I don't really like you, like you think they back off, but he didn't. He kept on talking to me. And so then like a couple years went by. I think my junior year, I was like, listen, I just need you to tell me you're straight so that way I can like get over it and like move on. Tell me you're 100% straight. And then he said I'm 100% into females, but I don't say straight because I don't know. And then I fixated on that for the longest time, that I don't know, like I didn't know what that meant. And so I was thinking like, oh, he doesn't know if he's actually straight or not. And so I like fixated on that for the longest time. And then finally, senior year, I was like, hey, listen, I really like you, but you're also a really cool friend. And so like, I just want to know if like there's anything, like any chance that this is gonna happen. And so that if not, that way we can just keep on being friends. And so he told me no, and so we're just friends right now. But I think it was really bad for me to like making him tell me that he was 100% straight, because I don't know, that could have just been really bad. And like, what if he wasn't 100% straight, and I was like forcing him to come out, and like that's not really the best thing to do, because if somebody forced me to come out when I wasn't ready, I would have been terrified. And so I did apologize to him. I was like, listen, even if you are gay, straight, whatever, I apologize for like trying to like make you come out early. I just was doing it for me, but I needed to like take into consideration that like this is your coming out experience, even if you are straight. I just apologized because I felt really bad. Yeah. How it felt to come out and how did others react? It felt really good to come out. I finally felt happy, and I was like, oh my god, like I can be myself. I didn't have to like pretend to like girls anymore, which was really nice. And then like I could finally talk about boys. I started like, just all my friends like knew, and like we would gossip about boys and everything, and it was like so much fun. It was like so much easier. And my mom is okay with like letting girls stay the night now, and like the girls are like the majority of my friends, so like it was really nice to like finally like have that opportunity. And then how did others react? A lot of them were like, yeah, no shit. Oh, I don't know if I'm allowed to. And how did others react? A lot of them were like, yeah, we knew. Like, no duh. But then few people still don't know. Like, I told my theater class, and there was this one girl, or no, okay, here's what happened. This one girl saw me in the prom video in one of her classes, and somebody in her class was trying to say that I was gay, and she was like, Burke, I was defending you. I told them that you were straight. And like, me and everybody else in the theater class, we just like looked at each other and we started laughing. And then she was like, wait, are you? I was like, yeah. And she was like, oh my God, I had no clue. And I was like, damn, I thought everybody knew, but I guess not. And yeah, this is my coming out experience.
There wasn't a specific time, like when I figured it out. It happened over a long period of time, and it was mostly me having an internal battle of, is this really who you are? No, that's not who you are. Is this who you are? This is who you are, because I was taking everything from the outside in, and I was just having this internal battle that went on, and then I started to come to terms and accept myself and realize this is who I am, and I shouldn't be ashamed of it. I shouldn't be ashamed of who I am or who I choose to love. The people I've come out to have been the most amazing and supportive. They don't blow anything out of proportion. They don't make a big deal about it. They just accept me for who I am. And that's really all I could ask for. That's all I want.
I guess my story is, I kind of figured myself out in high school, and then I came out my senior year of high school to my parents and my family by bringing a boyfriend home, actually. So that's me. I've been lucky. I haven't faced many obstacles. I am currently serving in the military as well. So that's not really an obstacle, but it's almost like a different kind of pathway, I guess, with being gay here in the United States and in the world. But it's nice because there's a strong support group here at the school I'm with. It helps a lot with just me and other cadets here to kind of figure out who we are and understand how that support group. So happy Pride.
I didn't ever really go through anything hard like a lot of people do with family and not being accepting and things like that. I never really had to deal with that, so I'm very, very lucky because I have a very open-minded family, and even though my dad was an asshole, at least he accepts gay people. Yeah, I never really went through anything. I didn't ever come out to anyone at school because, I don't know, I didn't talk to anyone at school and I didn't feel like it was necessary for them to know that much about me without knowing me at all. So the only person that it really mattered to me that I came out to was my mom, and she was fine with it. I mean, at first, I told her when I was really young that I thought I was bisexual, and she kind of brushed it off, but then like a few years later, I was like, no, like, I definitely am not straight, at least, like, and now I identify as pansexual because, I don't know, it's just what I feel fits me the best.
Mom did that too. I was like, Mom, I'm bisexual. She's like,
Sure.
Yeah. You got the face.
Like, even though my mom was really accepting, she was and is bisexual herself, she was just kind of like, okay, sure, honey.
Okay, love. I came out my sophomore year of high school as being trans, but I felt like everybody just kind of knew before that. I don't know. I looked weird.
You were never meant to be a girl.
Yeah. But, for the most part, surprisingly, I was kind of accepted at my Hick County school. Mm-hmm. I don't know, like, nobody really messed with me. Like, I feel like I got, like, the good end of, that stick, like, social-wise. Like, people in school, like, they would sometimes misgender me, but it was kind of like, I don't know. My school, malicious. It wasn't malicious, so it didn't really bother me. I was able to use the men's restroom.
Yeah.
It was weird.
You told me that.
It's weird because, like, I remember that they would, with other trans guys after me, they would, like, kind of be like, don't do that. But I just kind of not gave a fuck and used it. I didn't really ask for permission. The only thing that did suck about coming out was to, like, my family, because, like, half of my family do not know about it, which is... But it's also... They live in another country, so it doesn't really matter. My mom and my dad are divorced, so my dad's family is pretty accepting of it. I don't know. My mom, we had... It's been a process. It has been a process.
Yeah. But she's trying now.
She is trying now.
Before.
I don't think that, like, people realize, like, when it does, like, even, like, coming out as just gay, like, it takes families time. Like, I feel like with, like sexuality, not really, but with, definitely, like, with identifying as something other than cisgender is, like, the family's gonna be a little confused for a while.
Yeah.
You don't really, like, hear about people talking about that, like, the confusion and anger household.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense, just because, like, I guess for some parents, it's like, I had a son, why does my son want to not be a son? If that makes sense.
Yes, I know. I understand that.
Like, he was my baby boy. And then, usually, always hopefully come around, I don't know. But
I think that's, like, but now that, like, there's more, I don't know, if, like, it's being taught.
I know, it just needs to be talked about more.
It needs to be talked about
just
more.
like a lot of things do.
I came out in late 2014 to my best friend. She was super accepting. She was very loving. She supported my relationship. And she was the person that I confided in about, you know, my family, who I didn't think would be accepting. Later on, early 2015, I believe, my mom had found out. She had been suspecting for a while, but she finally did some digging, found me and my girlfriend's Instagram page, and told my dad. My dad is a super religious person, and he did not take it well. Initially, we couldn't see each other. For about 2 years, we were separated. We stayed in contact through phone, through school, that kind of thing. After that, we gradually started to be able to see each other more. We worked around stuff outside of school. Her mom was more accepting than my parents were, so she helped us get together a lot. Then once I got my car, my license, all that stuff, everything was a lot easier. I could see her as much as I wanted to. My parents kind of gave up on the idea that I was going to be the person that they wanted me to be. They kind of were forced to start to accept me for who I was.
I grew up in a very open environment. I never knew there were such things as being gay or straight when I was little. Of course, there were gay moms at my church, but I never saw them as gay, but as moms. Same goes for people in straight relationships. I saw them as people in love. I didn't know or understand the words gay or straight. When middle school came around, a lot of my friends came out, and so did I. Up until then, I couldn't even possibly imagine that I'd have feelings for a girl. While yes, middle school was hell for me, it did help me meet and fall for the first girl who would be my girlfriend later in my freshman year of high school. Once I realized this, I came out as bi to only a few of my friends. And then, of course, I posted it on the internet, on National Coming Out Day. A few months later, I found the word pansexual. I felt that it vibed with me a lot more than bisexual. I've always just fallen for who I've fallen, regardless of gender. It wasn't until a few months ago that I found the word agender. I've never felt like a girl or a boy or a mix of the two. I've always asked the question, what does it feel like to be a girl? What does it feel like to be a boy? What does it feel like to be a mix of the two? So, till I can somehow answer those questions, I'm sticking with agender, and agender feels right for me. So, when it finally came around to me coming out to my family, I was very anxious. Of course, I knew that they would love me no matter what, but it still didn't make it any easier. I believe I just anxiously blurted it out and rambled it a little. At the time, I came out as pansexual. My mom and dad were cool, of course. They took it. When I told them, they were all fine and cool with it. And it's just how it's been. It's made it a lot easier just to kind of look at a girl on the movie screen and be like, she's cute, and have my mom or dad agree with me and be able to talk about it normally without feeling like, oh no, I'm about to out myself. So yeah.
Growing up, I was raised to where I thought being gay was something that was negative, and I always thought that, I couldn't be gay, like it wasn't an option. And I wasn't really necessarily raised like that by my parents, but just growing up where I grew up in King George, it just felt like it wasn't an option, and I'm not sure why it felt like that, but nevertheless, I feel like a lot of kids, not only ones that live near me, but all over the world, grow up in environments where they feel like they can't be gay, and definitely that's not okay. So coming out for me was a very enlightening experience, because I had to come out to myself. I had to really sit down and realize that I would be happier, waking up with a man if I had to every day for the rest of my life than a woman. So it just in general, it made me become less of a judgmental person and more of a very open-minded person. In terms of coming out to, everyone else, to, I guess, society, it definitely made me feel more connected with people. It made me feel a lot better because I could be 100% of me instead of, 90 or 80% of me. And I could, let everyone know, like, I am this way and that's perfectly fine. And a lot of people, surprisingly almost, like, were very, okay with it. Like, no one, it wasn't really, like, very, very negative, very positive. It was just okay. Like, it was, and that's how it should be. It shouldn't be treated like a different thing. It should just be normal, and that's what it is. So I grew up, not even considering to myself that I was gay. I was raised, not necessarily by my parents, but just by society in general, that being gay was negative and that it wasn't an option for me. And I think a lot of people go through that, where they never view themselves as even being possibly gay. And even, I would admit, as a little kid and, growing up into a teen, I was definitely homophobic because I was just very raised to be judgmental.
I first started to realize I wasn't straight around 8th grade. I had this huge crush on this girl in my first period, and we did in fact end up dating for a little bit. I told my friends, and they were very, very supportive, and I'm thankful for that to this day. It was 8th grade, so of course the relationship didn't really last. I came out about, I want to say, this 2016. It was right when gay marriage was legalized. I know that. I sat down with my mom and my grandma because we were in Florida visiting at the time, and I was like, hey, I'm not straight, I'm bisexual. They were very, very supportive, and I'm thankful for that. After that, I called my aunt and I told her, and so that's basically how my mom's side of the family knew. My dad's side of the family is a little bit different. I don't really have good connection with my dad's side, and I know he's very unsupportive of the LGBT community because he has said some very wrong things and has done very bad things in the past. In fact, my mom, she had a gay friend, and when I was younger, they were going to take me out to the barbecue that they were having, and he said no because he was gay. My mom didn't listen and took me anyway, but you know, that still defeats the point that he is a bad person. I haven't come out to him myself, but my stepmom took the liberty to come out for me, which wasn't right at all. I do not condone what she did at all. And I don't know what his general reaction was, because she kind of sugarcoated it and said, well, he will learn. And to me that means nothing, basically, because I know how he is, and I know he's very, very, very much a bigot, and it's whatever, but it doesn't really, it's sad, but it doesn't really affect me because I do have a lot of supportive people in my life that I'm very thankful for, like my friends on my mom's side of the family, and I'm sure some people on my dad's side of the family would be very supportive. I've never really come across other than that major hardships, except one time I was dating a boy, and he knew I was bisexual because I make my sexuality very known, if that makes sense. I was in a group call with him with one of my friends, and he picked up the phone and started reading quotes of some pamphlet or something. I don't even know what it was, but I know it was stupid, about how gay people are going to burn in hell, basically. And I hung up the phone and broke up with him because I do not deal with that kind of thing in my life. Those are only the really negative encounters I've experienced so far, but I have experienced very positive ones, and I'm very thankful for that because I know not everyone is as lucky as I am to have very supportive people around them. It was 2016 still, I think. I actually went to Pride with one of my best friends, and hands down, best time of my life because it was so touching to see everyone come together and everyone to be so happy and free and everything, and it was just one of the best experiences of my life. And it made it even more special to have one of my closest friends be there with me, and it was just a great time. And I'm just so thankful that I am part of a community that is so, you know, accepting and loving. I mean, the people that are, because I know there is some, you know, questionable people that, you know, for example, don't really support, for example, like trans people and all that stuff, but, you know, I'm thankful for the people I have in my life, and I'm thankful that to everyone who I've been with is very, very thankful, and it makes me happy.
My biggest struggle was accepting myself. I, from an early age, knew that I was attracted to both females and males, but I didn't figure my gender out until later in life because I didn't know that transgender was an option for me. If I had known at an earlier age that it was an option for me, I would have been doing it from a super early age, but I didn't think that there was anyone else like me on the entire planet. When I was 12 or 13, I saw a documentary about two transgender teenagers, and it kind of changed my life. After a couple of years of identifying as agender non-binary, I came to terms with the fact that I felt male, even though I'd been repressing it for so long, and came out as FTM. Even though one of my parents isn't super supportive, my mom calls me her son, uses my name and pronouns, and I'm out to everyone at school and work. I am planning on starting hormones in October. Coming out as pansexual was pretty easy for me, but coming out as trans was hard. It definitely felt like a big weight was lifted off of my shoulders after I came out.
When you're able to accept that part of who you are, and when you're able to understand that you were born this way, that you were made this way, it's a really life-changing experience.
It's just been the most amazing thing, the most amazing self-love I've ever done for myself. And so, at the end of the day, it's love is love. And I'm being me.
And it was at that point that I felt that I had a place to belong. And it was nice.
This is who I am, and I shouldn't be ashamed of it. I shouldn't be ashamed of who I am or who I choose to love.
It definitely felt like a big weight was lifted off of my shoulders after I came out.
So happy Pride.
I'm so glad to be a part of this community. Happy Pride Month.